Come with me on a journey unlike any other you've taken before. Not across the vastness of space, but deep, deep into the corridors of time. We're going way back. We're heading to ancient Mesopotamia, a land of sun-baked plains and mighty rivers. This is the legendary birthplace of civilization, the very first stirrings of what we now call society. Here, for the first time, humans gathered in large numbers, forming cities that buzzed with life and activity. They gazed at the stars, charting their movements and seeking meaning in the heavens, and they invented the tools, both physical and intellectual, that would ultimately build our modern world. They were pioneers, forging a new path for humanity. Imagine, if you will, a world before the existence of cities, before the written word, before the concept of codified laws. For the vast majority of our history as a species, we were nomadic wanderers, following the herds and living off the land. But in a particularly fertile and resource-rich land nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, something extraordinary began to happen. People began to settle down, putting down roots and building something that would last for generations to come. They transitioned from nomads to builders. This was the dawn of a completely new human experience, a radical departure from everything that had come before. It was a grand and unprecedented experiment in living together in large, organized communities. Mesopotamia, in essence, became the world's first laboratory for civilization, a place where new ideas and innovations flourished. Its legacy continues to shape every single moment of our lives, even thousands of years later. But why do we call it the cradle of civilization anyway? What makes it so special? It's because so many fundamental firsts in human history happened right here. The invention of writing, the construction of cities, and the codification of laws. The very act of reading and writing, the revolutionary idea of a city-state, the fundamental concept of organized government, all of these groundbreaking innovations had their genesis in Mesopotamia. The first farmers who cultivated the land, the first astronomers who mapped the stars, and the first lawmakers who sought to create a just society all emerged here in this ancient land. So, let's travel back in time, 6,000 years to be precise, to walk the streets of these legendary cities and meet the remarkable people who built them from the ground up. This isn't just a dusty history lesson, it's far more relevant than you might think. It's the very foundation upon which our modern world is built, the bedrock of our civilization. The very roots of our lives, our societies, and our cultures are hidden in those dusty plains, nestled between those two life-giving rivers. So, let's begin our journey together and uncover the secrets of Mesopotamia. Our journey through time and across continents now brings us to a truly pivotal location. We land in the heart of what is now Iraq, Syria, and Turkey, a region that holds the key to understanding the very foundations of our modern world. This is ancient Mesopotamia, often called the cradle of civilization, the land nestled between the life-giving Tigris and Euphrates rivers. It's a place where history whispers from the sands, telling tales of innovation and societal transformation. These rivers were far more than just geographical features. They were the very lifeblood of the region, the source of sustenance and prosperity for all who dwelled there. They dictated the rhythm of life, the ebb and flow of fortune. Each year, the rivers would flood, an event that, while potentially destructive, was ultimately a blessing. The receding waters left behind a precious gift, rich, fertile soil, perfectly suited for agriculture. This annual gift transformed what would otherwise have been a barren desert into a flourishing garden, a vibrant landscape teeming with potential. It was an environmental transformation of immense significance. This fertile land made abundance possible, allowing the Mesopotamians to cultivate crops in quantities never before imagined. The land yielded harvests that sustained a growing population. For the first time in human history, people could grow more food than they immediately needed for survival. This agricultural surplus was a game changer, a catalyst for profound societal shifts. This surplus allowed some members of society to pursue other endeavors, to become builders, constructing monumental temples and palaces. Others became priests, mediating between the people and the divine. Still others dedicated their lives to art, creating intricate sculptures and pottery, or to intellectual pursuits as thinkers and scholars, developing systems of writing like cuneiform. Specialization became the engine of progress, driving innovation and allowing for the development of new technologies and skills. Society was no longer solely focused on survival. But the land also presented significant challenges and demanded innovation. The climate was harsh, and resources were not always readily available. Rainfall was often scarce and unpredictable, so the Mesopotamians became master engineers, devising ingenious solutions to manage their water resources. They built complex networks of canals and ditches, carefully designed to channel water from the rivers to their fields. They also constructed reservoirs to store water during times of plenty, ensuring a reliable supply even during droughts, securing their survival and prosperity. Managing water was not just about agriculture. It meant managing destiny, controlling the very fate of their communities. And as agricultural productivity increased and water management became more sophisticated, small villages grew into sprawling cities, centers of trade, culture, and political power. Cooperation was absolutely essential for these ambitious projects. No single individual could accomplish such feats alone. You simply couldn't build an irrigation canal alone. It required the coordinated effort of many people working together towards a common goal. This fundamental need for teamwork bound people together in unprecedented ways, fostering a sense of shared identity and collective responsibility. This, in turn, encouraged the rise of government and shared rules, systems of governance designed to manage resources, resolve disputes, and ensure the well-being of the community. The rivers didn't just water crops and sustain life, they did so much more. They nurtured the very idea of civilization, fostering the development of complex societies, organized governance, and shared cultural values. Here in this fertile crescent, geography and human ingenuity combined in a remarkable synergy to create a new way of life, a blueprint for future societies. The story of Mesopotamia is, therefore, the story of how humans learned to shape their world, to harness the power of nature, and to build complex societies that would leave an indelible mark on the course of history. Imagine life unfolding in the ancient cities of Ur or Uruk, bustling hubs of civilization that thrived millennia ago. Picture it. 5,000 years ago, a world vastly different from our own, yet fundamentally human. These were the cradles of civilization. Homes were simple structures, painstakingly made from sun-baked mud bricks, the most readily available resource in the Mesopotamian landscape. These bricks formed the very foundation of their society. These humble dwellings were clustered closely together, forming a network of narrow, winding streets. Families gathered in open courtyards, the heart of the home, sharing meals, laughter, and the stories that bound generations together. These moments of connection were vital in a world of daily challenges. Barley was the staple of their diet, ground into nourishing bread, the foundation of every meal. And of course, brewed into beer, a drink enjoyed by everyone, from the humblest farmer to the most powerful ruler. People also grew wheat, a variety of vegetables, and sweet, succulent dates, supplementing their diet by fishing the rivers, a crucial source of protein. As cities grew, jobs were becoming increasingly specialized: skilled potters, talented weavers, meticulous carpenters, and shrewd merchants, all contributing to the city's vibrant economy. There were also respected priests, brave soldiers, and learned scribes, each playing a vital role in maintaining order and preserving knowledge. At the very top of this social hierarchy stood the king, who was seen as the city's vital link to the gods, ensuring prosperity and protection. Family was the cornerstone of society, with marriages carefully arranged to strengthen alliances and households working together as a single unit. Women primarily managed the homes, but they also had the right to own property and even run their own businesses, showcasing a degree of independence. Life was undoubtedly hard work, demanding physical labor and resilience, but it was also a shared effort, a community working together towards a common goal, building a new world, brick by brick, dream by dream. It was a world built one mud brick and one grain of barley at a time, a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance. Urban life in Mesopotamia sparked a wave of invention. The wheel began as a potter's tool, then revolutionized transport and farming. But the greatest leap was writing. As cities grew, people needed to track goods, taxes, and trade. The Sumerians created pictographs, which evolved into cuneiform, the world's first writing system. Writing allowed knowledge to be stored and shared across generations. With writing came written laws. Hammurabi's code, carved in stone, set out rules for all to see. Justice became a public code, not just the whim of rulers. These inventions, the wheel, writing, and law, rewired human society. The wheel shrank distances, writing preserved memory, and laws created order. Mesopotamians didn't just invent objects, they invented the software of civilization. Mesopotamia's story is a saga of rising and falling peoples. The Sumerians built the first city-states, invented writing, and raised ziggurats. The Akkadians, led by Sargon, united the region into the world's first empire. They created a standing army and a postal system, and preserved Sumerian culture. Babylon rose next, with Hammurabi's laws and advances in astronomy and mathematics, giving us the 60-minute hour and 360-degree circle. The Assyrians followed, building a vast empire with iron weapons and a network of roads and governors. Their capital, Nineveh, housed a great library, preserving thousands of clay tablets. Each group built on the last, leaving a legacy of innovation and knowledge. Mesopotamia was never one people, but a parade of cultures shaping the world. Mesopotamians built cities that became wonders of the ancient world. At each city's heart stood a ziggurat, a stepped temple rising toward the sky, the home of the city's patron god. Babylon, under Nebuchadnezzar, was the greatest of them all, protected by massive walls and entered through the dazzling Ishtar Gate. The processional way led to the city's sacred center, a testament to Babylon's wealth and power. The Hanging Gardens, legendary and mysterious, symbolized paradise in the desert. These structures were more than buildings. They were expressions of faith, ambition, and artistry. Ziggurats reached for the divine, walls declared strength, and gardens celebrated beauty. Their legends have captivated us for thousands of years. For Mesopotamians, the world was alive with gods powerful, unpredictable, and deeply human in their emotions. Each city had its own patron deity, and keeping the gods happy was everyone's duty. Myths and epic stories explain the mysteries of life, death, and the cosmos. The Epic of Gilgamesh, the world's oldest epic, tells of a king's quest for immortality and the meaning of life. Familiar tales like a great flood and a man building a boat to save life echo through these ancient stories. Mesopotamian myths shaped later religious traditions and still resonate today. Their stories explored the big questions we still ask. Where do we come from? What does it mean to be human? The cities of Mesopotamia may be ruins now, but their legacy is everywhere. We measure time in hours and minutes thanks to Babylonian math. Our calendars and clocks echo their astronomy. Writing, born in Mesopotamia, made literature, science, and history possible. Every book, email, and law traces back to those first clay tablets. Hammurabi's code set the principle of justice based on written law, a foundation of modern legal systems. Even our stories and religious traditions carry echoes of Mesopotamian myths. The journey to Mesopotamia is a journey to our own beginnings. Our world was built piece by these ancient pioneers. They dared to build cities, write their thoughts, and ask the big questions. In a very real sense, we are all children of Mesopotamia.